Havenites, it is Thursday night, which means it is time for Shop Talk. I'm Josh Olive with Haven Comics, the absolute best comic book store at our location in Madison, Alabama. We got some fun stuff to talk about tonight, and so stick around after we play this awesome intro. Humongous shout out to Nick Ellis of Two Brothers Comics for making us look way cooler than we actually are with that cool new countdown video and our intro video. Really appreciate everything that you do, Nick. You're an awesome guy. I don't care what Dustin says about you. Speaking of awesome guys, here is the one, the only Alan. What's happening, Alan?
And I do agree with you. I don't really care what Dustin says about Nick, but it really does bother me all the stuff that Justin Birch says. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's because Justin Birch has got some credibility.
Yeah, he can cut straight to the quick.
He will cut a man down. He'll do it. Hey, what's happening, Kyle? Appreciate seeing you on 2 channels. You rock. Thanks, brother. Look at that. Boom. And then Bill Fisher in the house. Where you been, Bill? We've been missing you.
Hey, is Baltimore this weekend?
Yes.
Because I saw.
And that's why we don't have a guest this weekend, because we were going to, and oops, they have to travel to Baltimore, and they just wrong weekend. So we've got to reschedule a special guest.
I think it was either Twitter or Instagram. If anybody is headed to Baltimore, or if anybody's watching us from Baltimore, y'all stop by the Mad Cave Studios booth, because Justin Birch will be signing for Mad Cave this weekend.
Yes, stop by, give him a hard time. If you can, bring him a pepperoni roll, because he's not going to be home. He's going to be missing that. Man needs his pepperoni roll. What's happening there, James? Good to see you, brother.
I think I need a pepperoni roll after talking about that.
I got to tell you, ever since he described the pepperoni roll to me, I'm like, I need one in my life. Where is it?
That does sound good.
Ha ha ha, Bill. How awesome is that? Yes, G.I. Joe number 301 is in this month's solicits, which means that book is coming out soon. I'm so excited.
I need to go see the thumbnail right quick.
You didn't see the thumbnail for this week's show?
No, I didn't. Let me go check it out right quick.
That is sad, brother.
I'm going to be honest with you like I said, I'm off work tomorrow and Monday, and I'm mentally checked out. Oh, I see it now. I mentally checked out earlier in the week. So I'm just kind of not with it on any level. What else is on? Hey, that's actually, the thumbnail brings up a really good question. Since, we're kind of talking about indies this week, what's the deal with Geiger? I mean, is that going to be something that, are they going to do it kind of like Mad Cave and AWA does? Or are they only going to come out with so many at a time? Or because we've taken a nice little hiatus from Geiger.
Well, the Geiger book that's being solicited here is Ground Zero. It's a prequel. And I have to admit, it looks pretty awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they kind of told his story. I mean, they did tell his story. So does it really and truly want?
But they told it with the camera way back here.
Gotcha.
This is with the camera right here.
Gotcha. Okay. I can deal with that.
Like literally inside the explosion.
Let's see if I forgot to share out the stream to places. I need to do that right quick.
You did what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm just not with it this week.
Hey. You know you're a kid of the 70s and 80s if you know who that is.
Yes, sir.
It was really unfortunate. That's like one of the impressions I could do that people recognize because I'm not a small man. That is most unfortunate. Um,
All right, so let's share this thing out.
share it out, yeah.
Y'all don't forget to hit that like button for us. It does help a lot, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
We will start on Twitter. Let's see. What's up? You gotta move it?
Yeah, I'm gonna move yours, put it in front of mine. That way I don't have to move mine again.
Give me just a second. I'm being unprofessional. Here you go.
What is he doing? He's being unprofessional. We would never tolerate that on this show.
Hey, you know what? I did have a sound effect for whenever I decide to be unprofessional, and I think now would be a good time to play it.
This is an absolutely unforgivable violation. This is an absolutely unforgivable violation. This is.
That's just for next time we have Nick on the show, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm telling you, simultaneously the worst and greatest thing that could have happened was me finding all these downloadable sites for music and for sound effects.
Indeed. I apologize. I'm also being unprofessional, so you should play that on me. But I'm sending you a text for something. There we go. Text sent. So while he's doing whatever he's doing, we're going to embiggen me. And thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it. Not everybody appreciates good fat Albert joke, but you know, I do. I'm like Legolas's mom. I'm so fat that Gimli counted me twice.
God, that's so good.
That is a mean one. That's a particularly low blow, that one. But you know, you got to deal with it. All right, so we've been bigging me a little bit because I want to show you guys something that came in at the shop this week. Bill Fisher, I'm glad you're on because this is going to appeal to you. Nick Ellis, I see that you're on. I don't know this will appeal to you, but this will appeal to your wife and your daughter, pretty much guaranteed. So check it out. It's the Happiest Day board game for 2 to 6 players. You go around the Magic Kingdom, and as you do, Tinkerbell goes higher and higher up in the castle. And when she gets to the top of the castle, the board transforms to nighttime for the fireworks show.
Oh, now that's cool.
That is a cool, fun little game. And what's even better about it, check out the price.
Hold still. Oh, yeah, that's not bad at all.
$24.99 for a board game. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Spicy meatball. Leslie and I are going to play this tomorrow, and we'll let you guys know Saturday what the playability and stuff is like. But this is cool. We got a few copies at the shop. If we sell them, we'll order more. So, Bill, come and pick it up. Alan, pick it up. You're going to be there tomorrow, so you'll beat Nick to it. So, Nick, you're out of luck. Sorry, buddy. But, yeah, I always like I like a board game that is fun, easy to play, does not take an hour and a half to set up and clean up. And honestly, as a big Disney fan, I like any comics, board games, whatever, things that are set in the parks. I like things that take place in the parks because that's where I would really rather be. So, yeah, pretty cool little game. Also, in case you missed it, or you were one of the people who got to go to Dragon Con, it's still not too late. We have some stickers left. You can get your very own Sad Dragon sticker from our Dragon Constellation event. Look at those eyes. Look at the sadness. Get down with the sadness.
Bianca did an amazing job with that. She really did.
Yeah, major props to Bianca because this is beautiful. This Sad Dragon, vastly superior to my MS Paint Sad Dragon. And while I thought he was okay, I am not sorry to see him go. Not at all. Not at all. So, Alan, what you got to talk about this week? I imagine we've got some comics to review and talk
We
about.
always have some comics to review, and there's
A
my
sad dragon sticker.
It's a sad dragon sticker.
He got a sad dragon. Sad dragon, yeah.
Two brothers saying collect your way made the dragon sad.
That's right. The dragon only wants you to collect the dragon's way. You have to amass a horde of comics, and then you have to sleep on the comics. But you better have those long boxes lined up because you don't want to damage them.
Honestly, I just didn't feel like I had that good of a week.
I told you it was going to be a light week.
I'm used to like twice this amount. I mean, there was some solid books though that come out. Right off the bat, I mean, I'm absolutely loving this, and I do, kind of give some choice words tomorrow on a good note. But The Hunger in the Dusk, issue number 2. So, and I do mention this on tomorrow's pull list video, and since you're on, you can actually speak to this. I don't keep up with sales, and I don't keep up, with like the pre-orders, and I don't, for lack of a better way to put it, I just don't care about that stuff because it truly doesn't affect me. I know that's kind of sad, but it is.
Well, no, so, why would you care? You're a reader.
I mean, I don't know how well this book is doing, but for those of y'all that are not reading The Hunger in the Dusk, you're missing out in 2 issues something that has already proven to be an epic story. This is going to, I don't know if this is going to be a maxi series. I don't know if it's going to be ongoing or what the deal is, but this is one of those that I just have, and I'm not a spec collector on any level. I don't do that, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that if you do not jump on this book, you're going to end up regretting it. It's just been that good. And and I know a lot of people are like, hey, I want to wait till the trade come out and get the trade and all that. Don't wait. I mean, do not wait on the trade. This is one of those that you're going to want the individual issues for. It's just been that damn good. In 2 issues, I'm like sold hook, line, and sinker. Let this bad boy run 300 to 600 issues, and I'll be happy and content. And that's The Hunger in the Dusk, issue number 2.
I tell you, I don't know the numbers on issue number 2 yet, but issue number 1 at the national level anyway sold very, very well. And I was glad to see it because I honestly, from reading the solicits for it, I thought this is just some ye old generic fantasy stuff. It's going to be terrible. I was not looking forward to it at all, but the hype was all around it from the publisher themselves. And when you're on this side of the fence, you see a lot of publisher hype, right? It's the coolest thing that ever happened. But you learn to see when they're saying the words because that's their job, and when they're saying the words because they really mean it. And with this one, you could tell they really meant it. So when that first one came out, I'm like, all right, I'm going to give it a read. I'm going to see what I think because I love the fantasy genre in general. And I was blown away with the first one. I liked the art style. I liked everything about it. And then the second issue, I was very pleasantly, not surprised, but I was very happy to see that it kept the story going. It kept the art style going. There was no bait and switch. Things didn't fall off from an excitement level or all that. The threat is real. The forging of relationships and alliances is real. It's just really, really cool. Is this the wolf? Yeah.
Yeah, this is the, to kind of give you an idea of what Josh is talking about with the art style. This is a scene where 2 of our orcs are fighting wolves.
And the wolves are 3 times bigger than the orcs are. They're enormous.
Yeah, and I like the backstory. Oh, here's a really good one. I like the backstory that they're giving the orcs, and I know this is going to sound weird for anybody that's not reading it, but the whole thing about the marriage hut and, the ceremony and
it's world building in a really simple, subtle way. It's world building, and you're getting this feel for the cultures and things, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah, so good. And so far there's there's really not anything else out there that I can think of that I can compare it to for anybody.
It's definitely not an anime style. Once you look at it, when you see it up close or you see it in real life, it's definitely not an anime style at all.
Yeah, it oh wait a minute.
Oh, did you finally get my text?
Actually, I'd sent Justin Birch a message and said, "Hey, do you want to be our ace reporter that's live on the scene in Baltimore?" And he sent me back a picture of a beer can and said, "I'm 7 deep."
That sounds like a yes to me.
I'm about to send that. Sounds like a yes.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely like a yes to me. Ridiculous. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, as far as The Hunger in the Dusk is concerned, I really wished I could think of something that I could compare it to for y'all, but this book really stands on its own. I mean, there's not really anything to compare it to. It's just, I mean, you already not even halfway through the second issue. As a reader, you realize that you're about to go on an epic story. You're about to go on an epic adventure. It's just been that good. As far as Nick's comment about looks like anime, honestly, I think that this would make a really good anime style movie. To be honest with you, with what they're doing. The oh, and Matt, yeah, indie books are definitely blowing the big two away. The thing about indie books, though,
Uh,
is
I would argue that the big two are putting out some amazing books.
they are putting out.
They're also putting out a lot of garbage. There are a
They
lot of indie
are.
publishers that are not worth a darn, at least as far as my style and what I'm interested in. But there are a lot of indie companies who are putting out some amazing books right now too. So I wouldn't say they're necessarily better than the big two, but you get more variety from the indies for sure.
Well, I'm going to say beyond a shadow of a doubt, 2 issues in, this is 1,000 times better than a month's worth of issues of this.
Oh, I won't argue that ever.
Um, I'll say that the indies, and when I say the indies, I'm really IDW. Yeah, they've got some solid books out, not a ton of solid books. AWA, they've got
Most of IDW stuff is coming off of licensed properties. This is one of their first ones. They've got a few others: Earth Divers and Breath of Shadows, the Birch Book.
yep.
They've had a few others, but this one is one of their creator-owned properties that I think is going to help them reset and kind of get away from the licensed properties and maybe make a transition into something more like Image, honestly.
The thing about the indie books is they are not, they have a lot more freedom than what the big two have.
Very
As,
true.
as far as the type of story they can tell. And I'm not talking about, late Saturday night Cinemax story either. I'm just talking about the overall type of story they can tell, what they can actually do with the characters. So yeah, that's why I've always enjoyed indie books, is just because there's a lot more freedom there. Where, take AWA's Knighted, for example. That is not a superhero that we could have seen in Marvel or DC. They could
Knighted
not.
was what you get when you cross Batman with the Santa Claus. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And it was brilliant. It was like the dumbest mix-up mashup ever, but it was brilliant. It was hysterical.
With just a touch of Peeping Tom thrown in.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, for fun.
But back to the
flavor.
books. I just held this up, but Night Terrors Nights in 1, it's over with. It was a decent story. The thing that I did not like about this is at the very end of it, when they put Zombie Sandman back to sleep, when they put him back in the ground, I really wish they would have kept him around and kept him teamed up with Deadman. I liked that combination.
I did
They
too.
worked very well together. Zombie Sandman and Deadman, that's the buddy cop duo that we need in DC right now. They just work very well together. But now, since Night Terrors is over with, we can get back on with the Dawn of DC. I'm extremely excited about that.
Yes.
I've been kind of butthurt that Green Arrow miniseries had to take a break while Night Terrors went on, even though we did get a small glimpse of Green Arrow in this. So I'm kind of happy. Next up, Ultimate Invasion issue 3. This issue was leaps and bounds better than the first 2 issues, in my opinion. I did enjoy this one more than the first 2, but I'm still just not feeling the story yet.
See, that's funny to me. This one irritated me more than the first 2.
I liked the conspiracy theory aspect of this one.
Time out real quick. Nick and Matt, I know we've got some number 2 left on the shelf. Boy, that sounded wrong. Some The Hunger and the Dusk number 2 left on the shelf. We might still have some copies of number 1. I'm tracking that down. If not, I will be happy to order them for you because I really believe in this book. It is excellent. Sorry for the discussion of number 2. Back to Ultimate Invasion number 3.
The thing that I liked about this issue was the simple fact that, for lack of a better way to put it, the various heroes that are at this meeting all represent different countries, basically, or different regions.
Mm-hmm.
And you find out that this has been going on for a while, and it's going to continue to go on, that every generation, a specific region will be the bad guy for that generation. And then it goes to another region for the next generation. And that's kind of how they keep control
the actual peace. Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
It reminded me of the Matrix, where they're like, we tried to make a Matrix where we kept all you guys happy, but you rejected it.
Yeah.
So this is their way of controlling it. Is there's always somebody that's a powerhouse bad guy that the whole world can hate together. But to keep it fair, they rotate who that is on a regular basis, but in such a way that the world's not aware that that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and, Howard Stark has found this out, and he's basically going to go, he's going to try to fight, but
it doesn't look like it's going to work out well.
Yeah, it doesn't. And now, to me, that opens the next question. If Howard Stark goes down, because in this particular universe, Howard Stark is Iron Man.
Well, Obadiah Stane was Iron Man.
Yeah. Well, Howard's going to end up becoming Iron Man.
Right.
And that's what I think.
Well, I think he's going to die.
That begs the question of, if Howard dies, does Tony step up and become the next Iron Man?
And I think the groundwork for that is being laid here, I think.
Well, now, see, that kind of opens up an entirely new possibility with the simple fact of, if Tony becomes the next Iron Man, or if that's, where they're headed toward, at that point, the master plan of the evil Reed Richards, I can't even think of his name.
The Maker.
Yeah, the Maker. His master plan of stopping these heroes from becoming those heroes is now starting to fail. And it's starting to unravel,
right?
Yeah, it's starting to unravel with Tony. So does that mean that something's going to happen and Peter actually gets bit by a spider? I mean, it's with the direction they're going, and I know this is going to start like several storylines, isn't it? Or spawn several new books.
It spawns Ultimate Universe number 1, or Ultimate, I think it's Universe, comes out right on the heels of this 4-issue series wrapping up.
Yeah, there's an extremely fine line, slippery slope that they're kind of skirting with this. I mean, I am interested with seeing how they pull it off, but at the same time, they got to do a little more to draw me into it. Next up, I loved it. Hunt, Kill, Repeat, issue 6. That is a gorgeous flipping cover. This was 6 issues of just pure Mark London goodness. I mean, this was fun. I was not too thrilled with the way that it ended. It seemed like it ended a little abruptly, but at the same time, that was the ending that we knew was coming sooner or later.
Yep.
And it was almost like there's one particular part of the story. It's like, we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off now and be done with it. I hope that Mark London carries this forward because there's still more story to tell. Because there's still more revenge to be had.
Oh,
But
yeah.
all 6 issues are out now. I would say probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, if Mad Cave sticks to their schedule, the solicit should be out for the trade in maybe a month or 2.
Yep.
Jump on this. This would be an excellent trade read because you can just go, you can binge read the whole thing and be done with it. Really good story, very well done art. Yes, Artemis gets her god power back toward the end of this issue, and you kind of realize once she gets her god power back, that's when it truly hits you that everything that she had done up to this point, she had done without her power. And you're just kind of like, holy crap. So legit, how bad is she with her power? I mean, this was just a good, fun, solid read. I would definitely pick up the trade on this one if I was y'all. Next,
just as a side note, we are sold out of The Hunger in the Desk #1, but I just reordered 5 more copies. We still got copies of #2 on the wall. So we will have copies available for you guys to pick up at the shop. And Alan and I both strongly recommended it. I honestly didn't think you were going to care for The Hunger in the Dusk too much when I convinced you to pick it up. But I'm glad you're liking it. I'm loving it.
Honestly, it was one of those, it was like Clear. I thought you had just stuck it in my box to kind of give us something to talk about on the show one night. And I was like, okay, apparently Josh wants to talk about this book. I'm going to check it out and, I'll give an opinion on it. I was not expecting to like Clear as much as I did. And if y'all have not read Clear, by far and away, we are into September, and Clear is still the mini series of the year. There's nobody that's come close to that.
I'd say Red Zone is pretty close.
Red Zone's pretty close, but as far as the journey that Clear takes you on in 3 oversized issues,
agreed.
Holy crap!
Speaking of Red Zone, we sold out of the last copy of the trade that we had Saturday this past week, which we don't sell a ton of trades at Haven. We're mostly comics and issues, but we don't sell a whole bunch of trade paperbacks. That's the second time that we have sold out of 4 copies of the Red Zone trade paperback. And it's only been released for a month.
It's a good series. I'm glad y'all are listening.
So I've reordered it again, and we're going to keep doing it because it's it's such an easy book to tell people. Red meets John Wick, and it's fantastic. Go to town. Phenomenal book.
So much. It was such a fun book. Speaking of fun books, it was a one-shot, but Dungeons and Dragons Endless Summer. It was a goofy little one-shot. It was a fun little read. If you want a break from the superhero stuff, check it out. That's really about all I can tell you all about it. It's just like reading an episode of the cartoon.
Speaking of which, we just got some more of the lunch boxes in because these lunch boxes have been epic. And we've got that Dungeons and Dragons cartoon lunchbox back in.
Oh, nice.
It's beautiful.
Oh, nice. This one I ended up enjoying a lot more than what I thought I would. And I really wish there's certain aspects of it I wish they would elaborate on, but I don't think they're going to. And that is the Moon Knight Annual 2023 Contest of Chaos. I'm not reading Contest of Chaos, so part of the story is lost on me. But I'm pulling this open to show y'all one particular thing. For those of y'all that read the annual, where was it last year or year before last, where Moon Knight takes on Kang throughout time?
That was a few years ago, but that was fantastic.
There's kind of an element of that in this, in the aspect of the fight that Mark is in. I'm trying to find one particular picture. They are basically different incarnations of themselves, and at one point we have this particular incarnation of Moon Knight right here, and I want to see more of this Moon Knight, because this version of him, I'm guessing from an alternate universe or something, he actually kills Khonshu and becomes the moon god himself.
Whoa! I haven't read
And
that one yet.
you have not,
That's amazing. That's cool.
and you only get like a couple of pages of these different incarnations of them, but just this one version of him, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I need an entire series about that. The way this ends, though, it does go back to, and it does draw from the Age of Khonshu story. That's even mentioned in this book. And I like when they mention versions like that.
Yep.
This was another cool version of the two characters. That is the mummy form of Moon Knight from a different universe. The immortal Moon Knight. And I'm saying a different universe. That's just kind of the best way to describe it. And it all has to do with these crystals. If you're not reading Contest of Chaos, like I'm not, this is still a really fun read just to see these different versions of the characters that they come up with. And then the last book, which I know because I think you're on the opposite end of the spectrum than I am on this next book, because we kind of briefly talked about it the other day at lunch. Gotham War, issue number 1.
It took me three times to get through it, but when I finally got through it, I was like, okay, it set something up that's actually worth looking at. But it took me 3 times to get through it. The first half of it was just a slog.
See, I really enjoyed the pacing of that book. I thought it was very well done. I like the fact that Zdarsky does give a callback to the wedding that did not happen.
That, yep.
I liked the tension between Catwoman and Batman. You can tell that there's feelings there on both sides. You can tell that, yeah, there's probably still some love there, but there's also probably a little bit of hate there as well. Because, and the reason why I say that is Catwoman does make a reference to the wedding that did not happen. And in a nutshell, she basically says that there was 3 people in the relationship. There was Bruce, Selena, and Bruce's mission. And so you can tell that there's some hard feelings there. I like the way they set it up. I like the pacing of it. And I'm not so sold on the idea that Jason Todd is going to be Selena's inside man. I'm wondering if it's a double cross that's going to end up becoming a triple cross, because at the end of the day, he does look at Bruce as a father figure, and Bruce does look at him as his son.
Yep.
What Selena has done in Gotham, it's actually brilliant. It's a
great thought experiment.
Yeah, very well thought out story. If you're not reading Gotham War, I think the next issue actually picks up in Batman 137.
It does, and that came out this week.
I know, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. It's going to be a really good read, I think. And I'm glad that it's being integrated into the main title.
Well, it's not just the main title. It's being integrated into a bunch of titles. It's a crossover event. That said, I was going to ask you a question. And now I cannot think for the life of me what it was. That's
Oh, I got
disappointing.
to check out that website you told me to check out.
Indeed. Let's start there for our uh, getting into our previews review, looking at independent books that are coming out that are up for this month's previews. We're going to start with Image because Image just switched distribution from Diamond to Lunar, and they didn't think all of the aspects through, and Image is not currently included in any of the hard copy solicits. So Image is not in previews this month. So for any of the books we want to talk about coming from Image, we're going to have to talk about them off of the downloadable electronic copy. You got there?
Oh, I'm there.
Are you at G.I. Joe?
I'm there, and I'm a little excited. Do you want it on screen?
That's why I sent it to you.
Oh, Lord. Bill, I hope you're still watching.
I hope so too, because they didn't keep the same artist by any means, but they've still got the same writer.
Crap, wrong one. Hang on.
Wrong one. Come on, ride the train.
That was a little behind the scenes on YouTube stuff.
You can do it. And for those of you who are collecting the G.I. Joe classified figures, the Televiper and Trouble Bubble are on their way, and the Snow Serpent action figure is on its way. That Snow Serpent looks amazing, and the Trouble Bubble is just classic, good time fun. Look at that cover.
Well,
it's an homage to G.I. Joe 3 number 1, but it's a different vehicle. It's different characters all the way around. It's fantastic.
So now here's my question, and for those that are not reading G.I. Joe, they're not going to understand. But who's that in the white ninja outfit?
That's a good question.
Because I don't see a Cobra emblem. I don't see a Clan emblem. Could that be the original Snake Eyes, or could that be Sean Collins?
That's a darn good question. Could be either one.
This book needs to hurry up and get here.
I know. I'm crazy excited for this book, but scroll down and look at it's like they got like 5-6 pages of art or a story from the book.
You know, this right here kind of reminds me of the art from the 80s.
Little bit.
I mean,
look at Wild Bill. Here in a minute, you see Wild Bill's got some like yeehaw kind of crazy face going on. It's hysterical. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm
and there
definitely
again, look at
this.
Snake Eyes' costume there. Look what he's wearing there.
That looks more like it could be considered the older costume, the original.
Well, it's kind of the original, but it's also kind of the third iteration from G.I. Joe 90, what was it, 91, 92, 93, 92, 93, 94, whatever it was, where he got the new costume there when he was being held prisoner in the Cobra consulate in New York.
Now,
but look at that.
I like looking at everybody in the background. I mean, Shipwreck sitting there. Yes, that is a very distant, somewhat plain-looking Scarlet, but she looks amazing.
Yep. I mean, all that art looks good.
Yeah, I'm digging this. Oh, wow. Serpentor looks flat out wicked.
Doesn't he, though? And look at Cutter. When was the last time you saw Cutter?
Really?
Indeed.
Oh, that just looks...
From what I understand, there's a reason for that, Bill.
Man,
but okay, here we're back to Wild Bill. Keep scrolling down to see some more Wild Bill because this is great.
Yeah, that looks so good.
Look at it. Here we go.
God, man, Mindbender looks awesome.
He does, and look at Serpentor, man.
Yeah, Serpentor and Mindbender there just look flat out evil.
I mean, and see, there you go. Look at Stalker. Fantastic. Look at that
Yep.
Televiper in the background. Excellent. This is a good artist.
Yeah.
I hope they can keep this up.
Very, very well done. God, that looks so good.
There's the face I was talking about with
Yep.
yeah, keep scrolling. Here you go. Yeehaw!
Oh, I cannot wait to
And
get
look,
my hands on this
Shipwreck.
book.
I mean, I've just got like this warm, happy glow in my soul.
Okay, now look, here's a nice one. And for people that didn't read it, y'all aren't going to know what I'm talking about. But we've got the Joes, and look who's standing beside them. Right where he's actually supposed to be with the way everything was left off.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Man, this looks, I mean, don't get me wrong. I really did enjoy the art for IDW.
I did too. I thought it was great.
I like the way that it looked, but this right here just looks friggin' wicked.
It's very different. Like on his face there, you've got all the lines that are being used for shadow and stuff instead of using color to do it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty heavy looking. See, like on his nose there, up at the top by the glasses, it's heavy on the inks, which gives it that early '90s feel a little bit. But it's a fantastic art here. People have different facial expressions. They look like different characters, not just the same guy over and over. No, I'm really happy about that. But yes, G.I. Joe number 301. If you missed out on the first 300 issues, don't worry. You can start afresh with 301, which I think has got to be some kind of a record, right? Because it book ran for 155 issues at Marvel. And then at IDW, it picked up at 156 and kept going. And now it ran to 300. And now here it is at Image, and it's the same story. And there was G.I. Joe that was run by Josh Blaylock at Devil's Due and Image before all this. It just was different continuity because it wasn't this same story continued for 300 plus issues. This is really exciting, and I am so excited. And Bill Fisher, I could not agree with you more. I'm glad that they're leaving the core G.I. Joe book alone. It's just its own separate thing from the Energon universe, and I'm really glad about that. I think that was the right choice to make. Yeah, also, this week, if you have any hankering whatsoever to read Transformers, this week is final order cutoff for Transformers number 1. It's this Sunday, and I got to tell you, if you are a Transformers fan at all, and I would say I'm about this much a Transformers fan, never really been my thing. I participated in a roundtable call with the artist and with Robert Kirkman. And then at the end of that, they provided us a copy of Transformers number 1 to read. And I got to tell you, I read it and I tripled my order for that book. Because that is a fantastic comic and it is great. And it's like original Gen 1 Transformers. It's not picking up, unlike G.I. Joe, which has this long continuity that has carried through. They're starting over with Transformers, but they're starting over like in 1982, 83, 84. And that's what it feels like, except it hits hard. What a book. I was really happy with that book, and I'm excited to read Transformers, and so I hope you guys are too, because it was fantastic. But if you want to, go ahead.
There was an article, I can't remember if I sent it to you or not, but basically the way this universe is being set up, it's going to leave the opportunity for other Hasbro properties. And
it's leaving the door open, but there's no, this was addressed actually. Yeah. There's no current plans to do that, but it is leaving the door open.
Yeah, the article that I read said that the door is open for Mask and there was one other one. I cannot remember who the other one was. But Mask, because I definitely keyed in on Mask. I thought, man, that would actually be pretty cool right there to bring Mask in on some level.
Mask really suffered the toy line because the action figures were garbage.
Mm-hmm.
They were the wrong scale. They should have been the same scale as G.I. Joe. Yeah, Bill is right. It was ROM, Space
Yep,
Knight.
ROM.
But Mask toys were all smaller, and so it wasn't compatible with G.I. Joe or any of the other 3 3/4, like your Star Wars figures were all 3 3/4 inch. It just wasn't compatible, so none of the vehicles were compatible, nothing. They had some great ideas. I just thought the execution, as a kid, the execution didn't work for me.
But you know, if somebody was to offer me one of those old Mask toys, I probably wouldn't turn it down.
Man, I loved the car that had the doors that opened like the DeLorean, and they were wings and it could fly. That was just the coolest thing. My brain was just.
Oh God, yeah, that was a ton of fun. I've actually got Transformers pulled up here if you wanted to see it.
Well, you also need to pull up. We need to scroll up in that Image book because there were several other new #1 series debuting from Image, and I can't show them on paper because it ain't in here.
All right, so let me.
At the top, they had a book called Crave, which I don't think we can really show. It's a grown-up book. It looks really good, but it's a grown-up book. And then there's also a book called The Delinquent, which sounded really interesting, and I want to say is written by Tom King, maybe?
Yeah, I definitely don't think we can. I'm just now seeing Crave. I definitely don't think we can show this one.
You can at least talk about the premise because I think it has a little summary there.
I mean, well, actually, whenever I click on something, it's taking me straight to the PDF. Just like with the, oh yeah, good Lord, we definitely can't.
No.
Josh, I don't know if I want to collect it, but I definitely want to look at it.
It kind of sounds like 8 billion genies, except like dark.
So what I really wished that I could get, because I'm under, it's just flat out, it just says previews this is the first time I've been on this particular site.
If you just go back to the exact same place you were.
Yeah, that's let's see.
For G.I. Joe.
Wait a minute, Image catalog. And
Yep.
see, it's wanting to take me to, oh, it's giving me a different PDF. We getting there.
It takes a minute to download because it's a big file and it's graphics heavy. But while you're doing that, I can walk through some of the other stuff that's coming out this month. Because there's some fun comics coming. I gotta say, this cover or this image for Berserker Fallen Empire. I mean, just him sitting at this table covered in blood with her standing behind him.
Oh wow,
that's awesome.
You said that was Fallen Empire?
That's Berserker Fallen Empire. It's like, okay, so what happened way back in the way back? That kind of when his first started, because we got some flashbacks in the Berserker series, but it was mostly centered around what's going on now. And in Fallen Empire, it's way back story. This frustrates me. I've got to say, this frustrates me for a couple of reasons. It's a new book because they do this to Dynamite all the time. It's called Savage Red Sonja. Here's the art, which kind of looks a bit anime-ish for my taste.
Yeah, it looks good though.
It looks good, but a bit anime-ish. But here's what frustrates me. You want to know what frustrates me? Who is writing this book?
Oh, I hadn't got a clue.
Dan Panosian.
Oh, well, I might be reading me some Red Sonja then.
Black Tape, Red Sonja. I might have to read Red Sonja.
Yeah. We've got to get him on the show.
We really do. Just so we can talk about Black Tape, if nothing else.
Well, you know, if you think about it, with some of the elements that he brought to Black Tape, I could definitely see where a little darker, grittier Red Sonja, where he could knock some of the more supernatural sword and sorcery elements just out of the freaking park based off of what he did with Black Tape.
I would agree with that. I'm looking for some books that look particularly of interest.
Now, I did get the little thing pulled up for Crave, and Crave says a mysterious app that promises to make your desires come true spreads among the students of an elite university who use it as a hookup app. David, a top student, engages in a game of seduction with the unobtainable Alexandria. But as requests to the app escalate and wreak havoc on campus, David and his friends' only chance to stop this spiral is to find out what really lies behind Crave.
And it's very, very grown up looking. I might not be old enough to read that book, but it looks interesting.
I'm going to definitely say Cinemax After Dark.
All right, so here is another image from Berserker Fallen Empire, and Rebecca Isaacs is doing the art. She's very talented. I'm going to embiggen myself here so we can get a better look. Check this out.
Oh, wow.
Now, the weird thing for me is, all right, he's got manacles that are broken he's wearing on his wrist. So what's the story there? But also, look at those fingernails, dude. You might want to cut those. I don't know what's going on there.
You know, for a top of the line elite warrior, he sure did have some manicured fingernails.
That's true. And I will say, this is me talking like I could do better. That's phenomenal art. This is me picking the tiniest of nits because I'm a jerk. But here's some of the design, like character design stuff. Look at this.
That does look really good.
That's gorgeous. And I'm a sucker for the story of an immortal warrior, right? Like, I was raised on Highlander. I like a good eternal warrior kind of a story. Tom King has got a book which sounds something. It's an ash can, and it's written by Tom King, and it's called Animal Pound. And that's the cover. I have a feeling I'm not going to like this book.
Yeah, that is some good looking art, though.
Something bad best not happen to this dog. Leave my dog alone.
Okay, so here's a good one. What do you get when you cross the comedian Andy Samberg, writer Rick Remender,
Yep.
and Fallout Boy's John Thorman?
What do you get?
You get a superhero that goes by the name Holy Roller, and he crushes people's face with a bowling ball. I think I might need that in my life.
Yeah, and it looks like they've already cast the guy who's playing that main character there. Did you ever see the show on Netflix called Glow? The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. If you hadn't watched that, you need to. It's brilliant.
So Glow actually came out in like the 80s. It was when it originally come out.
Right, but I'm talking about the Netflix show about it.
No, I never saw it.
You should. It's fantastic. But they've got a guy who is cast as the like director, trainer of all the wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
That man needs to play Stan Lee in a biopic.
Really?
He looks just like him. It's scary. But he also looks like the guy that they've got there for Holy Roller. And feel free to share your screen if you want so people can see it.
Yeah, because this right here, this actually looks kind of funny. I definitely like one of the things that it says on here. It says Kingpin meets Inglorious Bastards meet Batman. I don't think we can go wrong with that combination.
The Nazis.
And he is fighting neo-Nazis in his hometown.
Like you do. Now, see, that's what he looks like there, but if you scroll down through some of the actual art, like there you go. That dude looks like a combination of Judd Hirsch and the guy from Glow that I was just telling you about.
Okay, so if you look at it, and we about to go some obscure movies on y'all. I could definitely see this as Big Earn McCracken with hair.
Yep.
But this right here is straight up John Goodman from The Big Lebowski.
100%. And I think that's intended to be.
That movie was so good. I mean, this might actually
in that crowd scene right there, was that just Drew Carey walking by? Who was that?
This one?
Yeah, scroll up. I guess it was up. Keep going up.
Right there.
Yeah. Looks like thin Drew Carey. But yeah, that looks like a fun read. And it's written by Andy Samberg. Or at least help created by Andy Samberg. This one kind of looks like, what if Transformers were on drugs?
Yeah. Let's see. In a climate crisis,
Petrolhead number 1.
Yeah. Hot Rod Racing Robot. So I'm going to say it's a cross between oh crap! What was that movie with Hugh Jackman where the robots fought?
Oh, that was a great movie. What was that called?
I can't.
Whatever it was, I know exactly what it was, and I really enjoyed it. It was a good movie.
But that looks like that might be a cross between that and say Transformers.
If you had ever told me that you could make a good movie out of Pop'em Sock'em robots, I would have laughed at you. But that's what they did.
Was it something Steel?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God! I've got the power of Google right here. Hang on.
The power of Google. Look at that giant zit.
Real Steel.
That was it.
Yep. You know what that kind of reminds me of?
A giant zit.
The art itself kind of reminds me of the first heavy metal movie that came out in the early 80s.
Yeah, it's got a very heavy metal Jeff Darrow kind of a feel to it. I would agree with that, yeah. This is me agreeing with you.
Oh, it looks like we got a horror book coming out, Blood
And it
Commandment.
looks good, too. Look at that. I don't know how you say that guy's name. I guess he says Simon, but it looks like Sismon.
Yeah.
Sismon Kudransky. But yeah, Blood Commandment. That looks like a really good book.
Huh. Looks like it might be some type of take off of 30 Days of Night.
Kind of. It's what a father and a son are like in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, and everybody around them is some horrible supernatural thing.
Yeah, but it does talk about, Shadowed Valley, so we know we're getting vampires. And it's only going to be 4 issues. I might have to check this one out.
Yeah, that one looks really good.
Oh, wow. Look at that art.
Yes, the art is beautiful.
That's almost, just the two of them almost got a Last of Us vibe to it.
Yep, that's true.
Wow,
and so I like that really muted use of the colors.
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
Really well thought out. And then you get, boom, look at the fire. Look at how it pops into focus. It's really cool.
Yeah, and then the way the fire lights up the crucifix.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely need this. This looks good.
Well, be sure to put yourself down for it on the sign-up sheet tomorrow.
Oh, don't worry, I will.
This one is a pure book right out of the 90s. Look at this. That top right cover is, I think that's an Ian Churchill cover.
Yep.
But that looks straight out of the 90s.
Wasn't Dutch one of the characters from Team 7?
Yes, he was.
Well, I pulled that one out of my rear end. The original Dutch is back. I should have just kept scrolling.
There you go. But that didn't tell you Team 7. Death Blow and the dudes at Team 7. And then you get to this piece of glorious awesomeness. It won't hurt us to see it again. G.I. Joe, real American hero.
Chris
G.I. Joe is
Moonham?
there.
I don't think I've ever heard of him.
I have heard of him, but never in relation to G.I. Joe. But it's clear from looking at that art, he's a fan.
Oh yeah, he definitely knew what he was doing with these characters.
Yep. I want to. We need to get him on the show. Stat. Dear Chris Mooneyham, we did not know you before, but we know you now, and we are fans. Please come on our show. Bring Larry Hama with you. Yeah, very, very impressed with that, I gotta say. Now this is this I put you down for. I put you down for this one too, Bill. This is G.I. Joe #1, a Larry Hama cut with some new stuff in it.
Really?
Yeah, scroll up. It's the Larry Hama cut. And read the paragraph there. It's got what you blew right by it. There you go.
Celebrate the return of G.I. Joe, a real American hero, with a definitive edition of its historic first issue. This issue restores Larry Hama's original unedited dialogue, which is oh wow,
Yep.
nice.
How awesome is that? And the one thing nobody ever realizes, if you scroll up and look at G.I. Joe #1 cover, is Snake Eyes isn't on it.
And see, that just, I don't know, that just looks strange that it says Skybound Comics Group across the top of it.
Instead of Marvel, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what it used to say. But that's a beautiful looking book, isn't it? It makes me so happy.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. That'll be nice to read. And so when we kind of briefly mentioned this, Ground Zero.
Yeah,
for those
scroll.
of you that did not pick up Geiger was a really,
So
really
good
book.
Yeah, and just scroll through there and you'll see what I'm talking about as far as what I meant by Ground Zero.
It's only going to be 2 issues?
Yep. Keep on scrolling. Proud Alan, keep on scrolling. Scrolling.
Wow.
Look at that.
Definitely keeping the same vibe.
Oh, yeah.
And that world that they created with Geiger, they could have done a ton of exploring with that world. Just Las Vegas alone.
There's a whole lot of playground there to play in.
Yeah. Oh, what's this by Top Cow?
That's Siphon #1. It's like the 4th or 5th time they put out a Siphon #1.
Okay.
This is volume 2. Siphon #1. Hey, look who it is. It's Chris. Chris. What's happening, Chris?
What up?
How you doing, sir?
Interesting.
Good to see you, man. We're talking about some comics.
Arcade King. I'm not feeling that one. This one, I saw this one, Bad Karma. Let's see what we got here.
It's a graphic novel.
It says, after finding out Aaron Carter, an innocent man, is on death row for a mercenary job they did 10 years ago, down on their luck, Army veterans Sully and Ethan go on a Christmas road trip to free him. Turns out nobody's interested in Aaron's innocence, but someone is very interested in making sure Sully and Ethan don't live to see the new year. They didn't just figure on one thing. Ethan's ex-wife. Oh. Okay.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's good. To answer your question, Kyle, Image now has, not Image themselves because they're a publisher only, but Skybound. So Robert Kirkman has got G.I. Joe Transformers and Void Rivals, all of which are kind of now set in what they call the Energon universe. And the more you read Void Rivals, the more you can see the ties to Transformers for sure. Speaking of which, how'd you like Void Rivals #3? Did that one make you happy? How'd you like the ending, I guess, specifically?
I thought the ending set up Transformers perfectly.
Yep. Hey, look at that. Dead Romans hardcover. Could that be for a hardcover of issue 1 through 6 of Dead Romans? My goodness, it can be.
Wow, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you say his last name?
Marinkovich.
Marinkovich. His art on Dead Romans, every time I see it, just absolutely blows me away. There's just something about his art style. I mean, yeah, to some people, they just kind of see this right here, the crucifixion, but he added little details like, the little rope straps.
Yep. Because that's how they mostly did it that way.
Yeah, wow.
Yep, sure enough. But that's the hardcover there, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to want that.
What I just highlighted there, how did you pronounce her name?
Whose name?
Let me blow it up some.
Oh, Honoria.
Well, that's definitely not how I pronounce it.
It's the word honor with an ia on the end of it.
Yeah, okay, if you say so.
Just say Honoria. Honoria. And you put the emphasis on the second syllable. Honoria.
I'm not even going to attempt it.
You put the emphasis on the second syllable.
Syllable?
Yeah.
I never read Invincible.
Well, you can fix that. We've got the first 3 trades up at the shop right now, I know for a fact.
Honestly, I think at this point, everybody keeps telling me to read it, and I think I'm just being defiant.
Well, that's okay. You can do that too. I will tell you, it is very good. So I'm going to tell you like everybody else. Okay. Come on, man, read it.
I know people still have to be reading Savage Dragon because it is still around, but I know absolutely nothing about Savage Dragon now. I mean, do you know anything that's going on with it?
I can tell you that they have an issue that is so grown up, spicy grown up, that CGC will not grade it.
Really?
Yep.
Now, I know back in the 90s, they did an issue that had 2 different covers and a shower scene. So I'm guessing it's spicier than that?
Oh, yeah.
Huh. All right, then.
Spicy.
That's a nice looking cover.
It is. But that's, yeah, from here on out, it's just trades and hardcovers and stuff. That's all that's left in there.
All right. And we will get out of this then.
We'll jump back over to the rest of the independents because this is how thick Previews is without Marvel, without DC, and without Image. There's still a lot of comics in this world, aside from just those. This one is called The Space Between #1. It's a new series by Corinna Becco and Danny Luckert. It's set in space. That's one of the reasons it's called The Space Between. Let's see. It's aboard an interstellar ark known as the Dodona, where populations of workers live in strictly separated social castes during the journey that will take multiple generations to complete. But everything changes when a pilot from the upper tier falls to the lower levels and meets someone down there. And they must risk everything, not just for themselves, but for everybody aboard. And I have to say, it looks cool. that I don't think that description does a great deal of good for it. It looks cool. It's a cool sci-fi story um, with some cool things going on. But I have to tell you, this David Mack cover, I'm going to always love David Mack's covers, but this one right here, bro, look at that.
Yeah, I actually pulled it up online to get a good look at it, and that does look nice.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. So let's
But
move
who is
on.
that? Which cover is it? Main cover is by Danny Luckart.
Luckert, yep,
Luckert.
he's the primary artist on the book.
Ariel
Olivetti,
Olivetti.
yep.
I'm guessing she's
No,
the
no
one.
relation.
Okay.
And it's a guy.
I'm guessing her, or sorry, I'm guessing that's
He's
the cover
Italian. Ariel Olivetti.
for like the 60s style vibe.
Yep.
I like that. That's cool looking.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. Really good artist.
Yeah.
This cover for Something is Killing the Children, number 35. Tell me this doesn't freak you out. That ain't right.
It's got a different feel to it.
That eyeball for a stomach, that ain't right.
See, that was another one that I missed the boat on, and then when I tried to get into it, I just could not get into it.
I'm with you. It's not my book. It's not my flavor of book. I don't really care for it. All good. New Power Ranger series coming out, but nothing particularly amazing here. Scrolling. Just good.
We got a
scrolling.
Lorcana question.
All right, Bill.
Just run the whole live stream, Bill.
All right, Bill. I'm gonna tell you how it is.
I know the story. That's why I'm laughing. It's so sad.
They put out a thing saying, "Hey, Disney's got this new product coming out called Lorcana," and I said, "Well, hot dang, I'm gonna get in on the ground floor of this bad boy." And day one that they had pre-orders for Lorcana. I'm talking about pre-orders, not even orders. Like, we're going to think about taking orders at some point. Let us know how many you want. I put in an order, a big order. Now, maybe not big for folks that specialize in card games and stuff, but for Haven, definitely a humongous order. We're talking over $1,000 worth of product. And then we got allocated to 0 product. 0, not a thing. This made me very unhappy. That should not have happened, and it did. And it wasn't just us. There were a lot of other stores that got it. So folks got a ton of it, or they got none of it, and nobody in between. They didn't share the suffering. They just made some people rich and some people poor, and that was what they did, whether you ordered it or not. So we got shafted on that, and it made me very unhappy. Now, I knew that they were getting more product in, and I made it very clear that if I was not receiving Lorcana product on this next go-around, that I was going to be finding a different distributor. I was done with that. And lo and behold, now it's not everything I ordered by any stretch. It's actually a small fraction of what I ordered. It's about 30% of what I ordered. Should be arriving at Haven tomorrow since it didn't show up today. Now, if it's not tomorrow, I don't know when it's going to be, but it is supposed to be coming. We are supposed to have it in stock. We'll see what we get and when we get it. But dang, I almost severed a business relationship that I've had for a long time over this because I'm just done with it.
Now, are you getting starter decks or booster packs, or do you know what you're getting?
I'm getting some starter decks and some booster packs, but I think it's a very, very limited amount of both.
Okay.
and it's for chapter 1, because the way they're doing it, they're breaking it into different chapters, and they're doing it for chapter 1. So at least you get in at the beginning with the beginning, and we'll see. But I have been very displeased by the way that this rollout has been handled.
That's funny that you're getting them tomorrow, because on Best Buy's website for the longest time, it said they were getting their starter decks on 9/1.
Yep.
Well, all of a sudden that changed to 9/8. And then within a couple of days after that changing, Best Buy's website took the starter decks completely off of their site. Starter decks and booster packs were removed from the site, but they left the accessories. And the Bug and I rode over to Target just to look, and I was like, you know what, we're across the street from Second Charles, let's just go see on the off chance. And the guy that was in there, I was like, hey, just on the off chance, did y'all happen to get any Disney? And before I could even get Lorcana out of my mouth, he started shaking his head no. And he goes, we've actually had several people ask, and we've asked our manager about it. And our manager told us not to expect to get that for several months, if not close to a year. And I was just kind of like, wow, okay.
This is the most mishandled rollout of a property that I can think of. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is worse than Tickle Me Elmo by a factor of 10 million.
I mean, I could see shorting it in the beginning to kind of drive up the want for it. You know, the scarcity is going to make people want it even more. But no, to this level, this could not have been planned at all.
Oh, no, it's a complete cluster. It's absolutely a disaster. But I should be getting a smidgen of product, not nearly what I wanted or ordered.
Hey, Bill, I'm off tomorrow, so the line starts here.
Like, UPS won't get there before we open, so y'all don't have to worry about that. It didn't show up today. I haven't seen a tracking number for it yet, although I was told on Tuesday rather, that it would be shipping this week. So if it doesn't come tomorrow, we'll have it next week. But yeah, just some fun things. Speaking of fun things, the Wheel of Time, The Great Hunt, that actually looks pretty good.
You know, I never read that series.
I got to tell you, I really loved it right up until about book 8, because book 7 ended with one of the 3 main characters, like a wall collapsed on top of him. And then in book 8, he kind of got a couple of mentions, and then he never showed up again until the very, 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 very end of the book. And it was kind of like months later, and this is where he is now. And I'm like, what the heck? You left him under a freaking wall. And then you get to book 10, and instead of writing book 11, you write a prequel. And book 10 has 100+ page prologue introducing yet another new character who's really just a throwaway character for something that's happening. Like, what are you doing, man? Move the story. Wrap it up. You're not getting paid by the word here. You're not Dickens. And then, of course, he dies before he finishes the series. And then Brandon Sanderson came in and finished it up like boom, 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 and knocked it out of the park. So, on the whole, very, very good. The early books are astounding. 2/3 of the way through, it gets a little rocky, and then the end is amazing. Absolutely amazing. The series on Amazon Prime is a travesty.
Really?
It is an absolute travesty. It looks pretty, but one of the fundamental issues of the book is, if you think of the magic system in this, just think of it's essentially the Force, right?
Mm-hmm.
women can access the Force, and they access it a different way, and they are able to do different things with it. Men can access the Force, some of them, but a long time ago, somebody did something bad and essentially tainted it. So you can access it, but you have to reach through this pool of nasty stuff, like a 8 inches of pond scum to get to the water underneath, right? And doing that, like, literally drives everyone insane. The more you do it, the more insane you go. So men who can touch the Force and use the Force are hunted and killed because they become insanely powerful and kill everyone.
Huh.
Except the Dragon Reborn is about a guy who, it's a prophecy that this person who could touch the Force and use the Force, it's called the Dragon Reborn, is going to come back, and he's going to fix it. He's going to fix it. And this is the story of that. And there's a question over which of these three characters is going to be the Dragon Reborn. It's one of these three guys. The TV show is like, it could be any of these 5 people, these 3 guys, or these 2 women. Like, no, it inherently cannot be one of the 2 women. You imbeciles. Like, you didn't even read the books. It's infuriating. It is so infuriating. I wanted to like that series so much, and they just absolutely destroyed it. It was hideous. Made me very, very angry. Anyway, hopefully this will do better. This is The Wheel of Time, The Great Hunt. Looks really good. If you are a fan of the series, I would give this one a read because The Great Hunt was probably the best out of all of the books, or at least it was way up there. I have to say, I really like this cover for Negaduck number 3.
That is a good. I do like that too.
Isn't that great?
Yep.
Now, they have an ad in here, and it's the best way of doing it. They tell you what the book is without ever saying what it is. But they've been doing pretty well with these Disney villain books, right? Dynamite has. So the next Disney villain that's coming.
Gee, I wonder who that'll be.
Whoever could it be?
I'm going to say Shere Khan.
Dude, I would so read a book about Shere Khan.
You are not the only one.
That's what friends are. Fantastic. Now, I think I convinced you last time when number 1 was being solicited that you were going to want this. I don't think it took a lot of convincing. But Alice Cooper.
Oh, yeah. Still
the
want.
new Alice Cooper book. Looks pretty awesome. They're all cardstock covers. It's going to be excellent. Party time. Excellent. Like 48 pages of Dynamite covers because they put out so many covers with each and every book.
I still don't understand that, but I mean, to each his own.
Right. It must work for them. It clearly does, or they wouldn't do it. And I just don't understand it. I can't stand it. I gotta say, Conan the Barbarian number 5, man, that Mike Deodato cover. Look at that.
Yeah, issue number 1 was a very good story.
Issue number 2 is out this week.
I'll be getting my hands on it tomorrow.
I hope you signed up for it because I think we're sold out already.
Yeah, don't tell me that.
I think we are.
I can't remember if I've signed up for it or not. I'll be honest with you.
But I'll order more. I can do that. I'm happy to do that. Let's see as we keep scrolling. Keep those pages scrolling. It's kind of weird because everything used to be so easily located in previews, but now a lot of the books like Dark Horse used to be at the very front, and now they're just buried in the back. This book looks interesting from Ablaze, the publisher Ablaze. You don't have a whole lot to go on because it's too small to look down at all. They have previews, but instead of full page previews or anything like that, they're super tiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
But look at that cover. God dang it!
I kind of remind. Oh, what was that? Bridget. Not was it Bridget Fonda? What was the daughter's name?
Yeah, Bridget Fonda.
But she played in where she was like a spy.
Yes, La Femme Nikita.
Yes, but there was another one that after La Femme Nikita. Crap.
But listen to what this book is about, right? What if witchcraft really existed? That's not what you expect when you see that in a book called The Agent and you see this person with a gun, right? But if you look closely, she's got this necklace with a charm like hanging off of the end of the gun or her wrist, whatever it is. Anyway, what if witchcraft really existed? If our beliefs, superstitions, and legends were material? Um, this is what Rhyme, I guess is how she pronounces it. A young narcotics lieutenant must question when she finds herself confronted with the impossible. While staking out a subway deal, a suspect magically kills his informant and drives the entire station into madness with just a handful of weed. She miraculously escapes. She's unaware, but she's a witch. So it's just really interesting to take that whole kind of undercover cop, FBI, CIA kind of a thing and throw magic into that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. This is what I would point of no return, and this is the reason why I was thinking of that when you showed the. I don't know how well this is going to show up because it's kind of a smaller photo, but the cover of the book and then that picture right there.
Oh, yep. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was like some type of unofficial sequel to La Femme Nikita.
I believe that you are correct. Let's keep on.
You know, we could do an entire video series of nothing but obscure movies that I've seen and remember, and we could probably dang near fill up YouTube.
That's probably true. Now, this is from Opus, the same guys doing Death Dealer and all that. And there are some black bars on this cover.
Oh, okay.
But it's the only image we have. Lost World Atlantis.
Huh. Okay. Does it
I
give
am
us
an absolute sucker for good Atlantis myths. And I'm down for that.
You know, with what Opus
it's a one shot, so it's not a big commitment, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, go ahead and put me down for that because I'm gonna be honest with you. With what Opus has done, I've really been impressed by them. I mean, I had never heard of that company before, Death Dealer. It was like they come out of nowhere.
That's exactly what they did. Death Dealer, I think, was the first thing they published.
Really?
I think so.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely want to check out that Atlantis book. I mean,
I gotta say that Fire and Ice book, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I thought that was really good. I thought that was really, really good. So let's keep on rolling. Find some good stuff. Because I know it's here, because I already went through this and made the sign-up sheet. I don't know if you guys know this, but I go through this every month, and I make this sign-up sheet to make your lives easier. If I put it on that sign-up sheet, it's because I think there's at least something cool about it that somebody's going to be interested in. I don't put everything on that sign-up sheet, just so you know.
You know, there was a few weeks ago, you had the sign-up sheet up, and
yeah.
There was something that I wanted, and I was not signed up for it. And you can ask Tom. I actually got excited and started laughing because I actually got to write my number down for once.
Instead of me picking it for you because I knew you were going to want it?
Already seeing it printed on there.
Let's see if it says when that's coming out. This is due at the end of September, which means October, November. This will be out in November, late November, early December, to answer your question, Kyle. Here's another book from Opus called Nadia and the Nomobots. Um,
Huh.
in
Is that
Saleo
something
City,
original they're doing?
emotions. Listen to this. In Saleo City, emotions are literally sold in the streets. Humankind toils for the coldly sentient robot community called Nomobots, producing emo pills designed to satisfy the automatas, the robots' cravings for sensations. Um, so yeah, humans are forced to make emotion pills for robots so that they can feel things. And then a Nomobot rescues Nadia, a female human, from a factory, and then finds out that humans are a lot more interesting than just their emotions. An intriguing cyberpunk tale of social complexities, moral dilemmas, and plot twists.
So, what do we actually know about Opus Comics, the company?
Very little.
Because I'm trying to find a website for them, and it's really Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
That wouldn't surprise me. Here's another Opus book called The Offspring, Let the Bad Times Roll. And it looks kind of like La Muerta meets something. It says it's a Day of the Dead slasher adventure set in the rollicking rock and roll of punk royalty. And it's an officially licensed band tie-in. The artwork is so dark you can't see it very well, but it looks a whole lot like La Muerta.
Yeah, it looked just like her. And who is the band?
I guess it's the band called The Offspring.
I wonder if it's that band from the 90s, The Offspring.
I believe it is.
Because, Opus did the crossover with Halloween for Keeper of the Seven Keys, which was very good if y'all hadn't picked it up.
You did recommend that one very highly, yes.
And it looks like they've got a book coming out, or it's either come out with Evanescence, or it's
Yes, they
Evanescence
do.
Echoes of the Void, but this looks like it might actually be a... It looks like this is a collection of short stories. Oh, no, wait a minute. It says created by an all-star cast of graphic artists. We need to track somebody down from Opus and get them on the show.
I 100% agree.
Because I'm looking on their
Tell them to
Facebook
bring their
page.
Ouija board, and maybe we can get Frank Frazetta.
Really?
I mean,
No,
that's
we
why they would
definitely
need a
got
Ouija board.
We've definitely got to get a yard sale Ouija board to pull him.
Yep,
He's not
that's
going to
true.
show up for just average Ouija board from Walmart.
That is a true statement.
But it looks like Opus just had a book come out called Exodus, Tales of the Damned. And this looks pretty interesting.
They maintain a certain vibe with their books, which I have to give them props for, because you kind of get an idea what you're getting. It's not just all over the place. And I appreciate that about them. If you're a fan of the dark Archie books, which some people are, Darkling has got a one-shot coming out for the holidays that looks really cool. I mean, tell me that doesn't look like Gamora from the 70s.
It really
just
does.
with purple instead of green. So yeah, if you're an Archie fan and you want to get yourself a good one-shot, Darkling OS is the way to go. And just skip through all of the really spicy stuff here with Avatar. Thank you very much. Oh, I have to say, funny thing there. I can't show the cover for the new AWA book either. It's called Red Light.
Oh yeah.
It's an erotic thriller that sits at the intersection of sex and tech. It's very grown up, very spicy.
But here's the thing: it's coming from AWA, and Hit Me was a pretty spicy book itself. And Hit Me was an amazing book by AWA. So don't be turned off by the spiciness. I think
Yeah,
we got
it's a grown up story, but it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They haven't put anything bad out yet. I really enjoyed the Madness #1. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of that story unfold.
Yeah, I got a feeling that one's just going to be friggin' nuts. That's going to be good stuff.
All right, here's a new, as far as I know, at least I've never seen anything from them before that caught my attention. A company called Battle Quest Comics. They have Nomad the Unconquerable, the Cave of Broken Tombs.
That reminds me of Mumra.
It looks a lot like Mum-Ra. And then look at this. Like, what is going on with that dude on the right? He got no neck. Or he's got a super tiny face that's buried in the middle of an enormous neck. But I gotta admit, I like Mum-Ra.
That
I'm
is
interested.
He-Man versus, what was it, Ram Man or whatever his name was?
Oh, yeah. I got you. But no, I always liked. It looks interesting. Keeping on scrolling. Gonna find some good stuff. What are you looking at over there?
Actually, I'm still on Opus Comics.
I went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm on their Facebook page checking everything out. I mean, they do have a link tree, but it takes you to like Midtown Comics.
Yep.
And yeah, Opus Comics whole thing, it says myths, monsters, and metal. So I mean, that's definitely what you get with them.
Yep.
You're not going to get a warm, fuzzy, feel-good story.
No. Now this one depends on if this is your kind of thing. Tuskers. #1. It is. It's like cute elephants on the cover. When a merciless poaching militia threatens a herd of African elephants, a group of wildlife conservationists must risk their own lives to guide these elephants through a perilous 1,000-mile journey to the safety of an animal sanctuary. And the writer is a guy who wrote for the TV shows Grimm and New Amsterdam. And I gotta say, that could be a good book. I don't know. I'm willing to find out. Scrolling. Boy, a lot of Lady Death this month.
You know, the brothers, I don't know if they're the one that coined the phrase. They're just the last ones that I heard. The last ones I heard say it. A lot of people won't even go anywhere near what they call the booby books. But Lady Death, and I know Lady Death, a lot of people will not go near it because of that aspect of it. And I don't even cover it on the pull list or anything just because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. You know, I want to keep it family friendly and stuff.
Yep.
But Lady Death is putting out a solid story. I mean, they've done a really good job story-wise. It's been a fun read. And it's been that way for Lady Death has been consistent for years. And that's about all I'm going to say about it.
There's a reason that what's his face that created Lady Death, Brian Pulido, why he is continuing to do so well. He does Kickstarters to sell his stuff, and he makes millions of dollars off of it. It's not flavor. It's not my style, but he clearly does what he does very well.
And I heard that he is very, very, very protective of that property also.
Well, it's smart to be that way.
Yep.
Have we talked a whole lot about Distillery yet? The new publisher?
We talked about they had a book coming out, and I believe it hit shelves last week.
Yeah, oversized book, little anthology with a bunch of different stories in it. But I asked because they've got a new book coming out by Becky Cloonan and Tula Lotay called Somnia.
Okay.
Looks good. Becky Cloonan's a fantastic artist, and Tula Lotay is really good too. Here's the deal. Set amidst the terrifying backdrop of the witch hunts in a quiet 1600s English village, Somnia follows one woman's descent into an erotic escape from the confines of her puritanical world. She's in an unhappy marriage. The town's bailiff and chief witch hunter, that's who her husband is. And he's on the single minded quest to purge the heretics in their midst. A prominent town leader is found murdered, accusations fly, and no one is above reproach from Roland's deadly crusade. She has her suspicions about who the real murderer is, but even as she pursues the truth, she's pursued herself by a shadowy figure. That sounds interesting to me.
Honestly, it sounds like and it's funny because this book got mentioned in a group text that we have going on over the weekend. It sounds like it could be a spinoff of Redlands.
Yeah, it's not too far off from that.
Yeah, and I personally, other than that one issue with that letter in it,
Yep.
I thoroughly enjoyed Redlands. But to this day, that letter, the way that it was written and the content and what it was about, I'm going to be honest with y'all, you, me, and the three people we have watching, dude, that shit upset me. I mean, I was not a happy person when I got finished reading that. I mean, to the point where, and I mean, for something to disturb me, they've gone somewhere with that one.
Yep, agreed. So, question for you. Dynamic Forces is offering a G.I. Joe 301 CGC graded book. It's just the regular cover. The MSRP is $100. It's $99.99, but for the way that CGC is these days, that's not bad. And you're guaranteed a minimum 9.6. So if anybody wants a pristine CGC G.I. Joe 301, we can order that for you. Just let us know. If anybody's wondering, I am very strongly considering getting one of those for my shelf.
I'm thinking about it. Do we know what the street date is?
It'll be a month or two after the regular book comes out because
So
it
we're
takes them
probably
a little
looking
time.
into December, probably maybe mid-January.
Yeah, it takes a little time, but yeah. Just so folks are aware, if that's something you want, we can get that for you, and we are happy to do it.
I'm not sure what Kyle's asking here. How many is Newburn?
Newburn was a good series. I got burned out on it a little bit, but it was a good series. I don't remember how long Newburn ran. I want to say it was 6 or 8 issues, maybe. It was a pretty good book, I have to say. I enjoyed it.
You know, and I do find it funny that you literally started the show once I came on with the Disney game, just because of the simple fact of the short that I put out today.
What can I say?
Bill, I don't know what you're trying to say there, but I'm automatically just going to say yes. Yes to any Zdarsky book.
Did Zdarsky write Newburn? Is that what he's saying? I don't remember.
I don't even know what Newburn is. I got to be honest.
Now this is a graphic novel, so it's not a comic book, but it's an adaptation from Mark Twain. It's called "The Man That Corrupted Hadleyburg."
Okay.
How cool does that look? You don't see a lot of comic book adaptations of Mark Twain.
You know, and I'm prepared to fight somebody on this. You know what that cover is? That cover is straight up Disney's Something Wicked This Way Comes.
What a great movie. Oh my gosh. Did that movie scare the ever living crap out of you when you were a kid?
Well, of course it did, because we were kids. And you
Holy
watch it
smoke.
today and you're just kind of like, I still don't know if I feel comfortable with this.
Exactly. That one still does that. Now, the other Disney movie at the time, did you see The Watcher in the Woods?
Yes. With the dog? No, wait a minute. I'm thinking of The Watchers based off of the Dean Koontz book.
No. The Watcher in the Woods. I think it was Betty Davis's last movie role.
Oh, and Bill, yes, Zdarsky did write Newburn.
But you're definitely a little ways off, but we could work something out. We've been known to do that. But yeah, that Newburn was interesting because it was like a guy who is not a cop, but he's also not a criminal, and he deals with both of them, like to get to the bottom of stuff. And there's like a strict hands-off policy with this guy, like nobody touch him. It was really interesting. Here's a book from Mad Cave. Do you remember? We've still got some of the big oversized ones at the shop. The book Red Star. Do you remember that? Christian Gossett came out probably 15, 16 years ago. The Russian looking.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
You remember Red Star?
Yeah.
With like these women, these kind of witches or whatever that powered these huge ships that hovered off the ground, all this. Here's a book called Eden Frost that sure does have an art style that looks a lot like Christian Gossett's Red Star.
Yeah, I'm signed up for Mad Cave's newsletter, and they sent that out in their newsletter probably a week or two ago.
Yep.
And honestly, the first thing I thought when I saw that guy on the cover was M. Bison from Street Fighter.
That's fair too.
But then the more that I looked at that art on the cover, the more I started thinking that I'm going to need to read that.
Yeah, here's the story. After losing their parents in a pogrom, pogrom, if you don't know, it's too much to explain. Teenage siblings Alex and Yuli used the mystical power of a golem to survive the chaos of the Russian Civil War. In a harrowing journey through war-torn Ukraine, the duo will face the harsh reality of warfare, ethnic bias, and national pride as they fight for their own place in the world. It's two kids and a golem trying to escape the Civil War in Russia. Okay.
There was a mini series that came out. It was probably around the same time that Out came out.
Yep.
And
God, I loved Out. Out was spectacular.
Oh my God, so good, so good. But it was about World War II and a town that used a golem. I cannot. It was like a phrase was the name of it.
Yeah, I forget what it is, but I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
That book was so good. That miniseries was. So yeah, if Mad Cave is going to do a golem, I think I'm going to have to check that one out. I did not know a ton. We peeling the curtain back since it's just me, you, and the light post. I did not know a ton about Mad Cave before we interviewed Mark London. I knew a little bit about him enough to, and I knew that he did a lot of interviews. So I just started messaging him and talking to him on Twitter one day. But after talking to him and the passion that he has and how he's literally comes across as still being a big kid when it comes to comic books and reading in general.
Yep.
That kind of got me excited for Mad Cave, and I started reading more and more and more. And I'm serious. I mean, I'm definitely going to be checking out a lot of Mad Cave books when they're coming out now. And if y'all have not seen that interview with Mark London, y'all really need to go watch that one. That one was a really fun interview to talk, a really cool guy to talk to.
He really was. Yeah. I really enjoyed talking to him. Now, here's a book. You know, this isn't my cup of tea, but it sounds so crazy that it should be fun. The book is called Lipstick Clicker. Clicker, Cliqa.
Okay.
Lipstick Clicker is a fierce, all-female gang of shape-shifting vampire cholas led by the fearless Marissa, who expertly wields her trademark razor whip.
Razor whip.
I'm more interested in the all-female gang of shape-shifting vampire cholas. I don't know what a chola is. It might be a bad word that I shouldn't say.
You know what? Hang on.
It's
How do
funny.
you spell it? How do you spell it?
Chola.
Oh, all it is a woman of indigenous or partly indigenous ancestry. So it's nothing bad.
Sounds a little derogatory, but okay. But yeah, the shape-shifting vampire cholas. It just absolutely cracks me up. That's funny. That's some funny stuff right there. I don't care who you are. That's funny. All right, here's a book. I think we talked about it before, but we're going to talk about it again. Unnatural Order. New comic coming out from Vault.
Yeah, I think we have talked about that one.
How bad do they want you to read this book? I'm not kidding. They are sending this book, issue number 1, they are sending to retailers completely free. Completely free. Now, they're still putting a price tag on it because what retailers choose to do with it is up to the retailer. And here's what I'm batting around. I think that's a heck of a gesture from these guys, and it's written by Christopher Yost. So if you remember, crikey, he said Sheila's. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. Anyway, Christopher Yost, he's written a lot of comics over the years. He's moved on to write a lot of movies, and now he's back with comics. And this particular one, they believe in it enough to give everybody an opportunity to read it for free. And that's incredible. You don't get that out of a small company a whole lot because it costs them a lot of money. It costs them as much money to put that book together to give it away as it does to put together to sell it.
Yep.
So that's a lot of faith in their product. And so to repay that faith in their product, I think what we're going to do is we will have it on the shelf for sale for anybody who wants to buy it at its retail price. But if you sign up for the book and you get at a minimum issues 2 and 3, you get number 1 for free. Does that sound fair to you?
I think that sounds fair to me. This sounds like a pretty good deal.
Because you can buy it if you don't want to commit to 2 and 3, but if you want to commit to 2 and 3, you get it for free. I think that sounds like a pretty fair deal.
And who is the publisher on that?
Vault Comics. Really, really happy about that. I'm looking forward to that book quite a bit. So that's going to be a good one. Be a good one, as they say. And then I think we're into the manga now. And boy, they've got some manga in here that we definitely cannot talk about on here because that is some spicy. I'm glad that Kaylisa used that term because I think that's a fun term for what we mean without getting too in depth. I will say there is a manga called from Disney called Twisted Wonderland. Have you seen or heard anything about that one?
No, I never knew anything about that.
Um, It's Alice in Wonderland, but twisted into manga. Whoa, 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 whoa! What now? Goonies is showing at Cinemark Bridge Street this Sunday at 2:00. Well,
But I might have to wait and see what's going on Sunday.
that's what I'm saying. How do you feel about that, Alan?
I might have to wait and see what's going on Sunday. I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh, I
think you might share some popcorn with me.
No, I don't know. That's going a little too far. I mean, I love you and everything, but let's pump the brakes just a little bit. On the Facebook post that you did, what was that Spider-Man cover?
The Spider-Man cover.
It looked like Mary Jane, like the cover of a magazine.
Let me get, which Facebook post are we referring to?
I think it was the one just the other day because I made the comment about toss 2 copies in Nick's box.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good looking cover.
Yeah, that was Spider-Man. There you go. It was just that particular cover with Jackpot. Yep. Yep. I wasn't going to do that to Nick, though, because I want Nick to still be my friend.
I do stuff like that to Nick all the time.
Yeah, but that's why he secretly hates you.
Please, Nick loves me. I need to get with Nick because the Sand Mountain Con's coming up soon.
Boy, that it is.
I need to make sure we're still riding over that Saturday.
That's coming up real soon. And yeah, you guys need to come hang out. Bare minimum, you need to come hang out and talk with Stephen Butler. Do a live interview with Stephen and Lily Butler. Stephen just shared a page with me. That's how you lose a hand.
Hey, Tom, it is Zaza.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Victor Zaz, not Zaza. There's no A at the end.
It's the Zaza.
But yeah, you guys come over. Anyway, I was just saying, Stephen Butler shared an image with me the other day of the Christmas issue that he's working on, because he's working on all these Archie books that Tom DeFalco is writing them, and he's drawing them. What a great mix. And really? He uses the exact same storytelling devices that he used for Spider-Man in Archie. It's really great to see him do that, right? But he's got a page at the end of this book. It's a Christmas issue. And so you've got everybody in this hall all kind of looking at the camera and pointing. And people are like, some people are up on this balcony. But it's the exact same effect that you get with those old George Perez shots where he would include like 300 bazillion people.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely insane how many people he had crammed in there, and yet it all still looked so good. Really, really cool. Speaking of which, somebody showed me, God, this would have been in 1994, 95. I don't remember what issue it was. Google might be able to tell you, but there was a JLA book or a Superman book, whatever it was, that George Perez had drawn one of those humongous, massive, like the lineup included everybody who had ever been in a DC comic, kind of what it felt like, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody pointed out that it had slipped past the editor and everybody else. But if you looked real close on the top row of the back end, way over here to the left, there was Spider-Man. And once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. I mean, there was no doubt. It was absolutely Spider-Man. It was fantastic. Tom Price, while we've got you here, let's talk for a second about Lines on a Page that's coming up. Because the Lines on a Page that you posted for this next week got picked up by Geek Out Huntsville, both on Facebook and on Reddit. I don't know if you saw that. But your Calvin and Hobbes Lines on a Page episode that you've got coming up was picked out by Geek Out Huntsville for 2 different platforms, and maybe more, but those are the 2 that I know of. They may have pushed it to Instagram or something too.
Nice.
So
very good.
That's a round of applause. Congratulations, Tom Price. So you may have some more people popping in to view it. Then welcome them in with open arms. It'd be great to have them. So while we got a few more minutes here, what else is going on up at the shop that you're excited about, Alan? What's happening?
So not up at the shop, but we'll get
I
to
specifically said at the shop. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited for a UPS delivery that could potentially happen tomorrow.
Well, that makes 2 of us.
That one's got my interest piqued. I'm hoping that we're a little bit closer to 24 hours at Haven. That would be fun.
That's supposed to be in November, right?
Last I heard, supposed to be in November.
November 6th, 7th, something like that. Whatever that Friday to Saturday is.
Yeah, somewhere right around there. I'm not for sure.
24 hours in a comic shop. You guys come out. Well, we're going to be there, so we're going to be open. And it's going to be insane. So if you want to come, if you get this wild hair that you need to come and buy a Batman statue at 4:30 in the morning, you come on down. If you want to come and see what in the world Alan is going to do with the grill and what kind of wonderful food he's going to concoct, come on down.
You know, from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. is supposed to be the paranormal anti-hour. That's when you're supposed to get a lot of paranormal activity. So I think we should run a sale from 3 to 4. All horror comics are 50% off, just to see if anybody comes in at 3 o'clock in the morning to buy a horror comic.
We could do something like that. I'd be game for something like that.
I mean,
we could do a different theme every hour.
Yeah, that would be cool. A different theme every hour around the clock.
That's a fun idea. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. For some reason, I'm going to be a little disappointed if Tots doesn't come walking in at like 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, I just expect Tots to already be there. Because Tots needs to participate.
That would be fun.
I mean, come 3 o'clock in the morning, we're going to be hearing some stories from Grandpa Steve.
Yeah, really?
Back in my day, I told that young Ulysses S. Grant fella, get off my lawn.
Ooh.
That's good stuff.
I know.
There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go. Like how you roll, Bill.
So since we're kind of nearing here toward the end, you know what? I've seen Corbin, some of the stuff that he posts. I'll be more than happy to have an Iron Chef style competition in the parking lot at Haven for 24 hours against Corbin.
Fight.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a win-win for me. I'll tell you that right now.
I know. We do have the pull list coming out tomorrow at 11:15, and Monday at 11:15 we have another video coming out, and it is about a 20-minute video, and it is what I currently think are Marvel's best runs for the people that are looking for something to read, whether you are a new collector or somebody that's been collecting for 1,000 years like Josh and I. If you're just looking for something new to read, I did an entire video of nothing. I picked my top 5 Marvel runs right now that I think would be good just for somebody to pick up and jump on. One of them kind of started a couple of them kind of started a little while ago, but they would be very easy to pick up still. So that'll be coming out Monday morning about 11:15. And we'll see how well if that video does pretty good and it's something that y'all like, I'll do one for DC. I thought I would do one for Indies, and then I realized that Mad Cave and AWA pretty much deserve their own videos on their own.
Dark
So
Horse
does
back
Image.
in the day. I mean, early 80s, mid 80s Dark Horse, early 90s Dark Horse.
Yep.
Man, they were unstoppable.
Oh God, yeah.
Alien, Predator, Hellboy, The Next Men was great. Yeah, no, Dark Horse was just incredible during that time period.
Yep. And I mean, even now, I mean, Dark Horse is who put Clear out. So
Yep.
yeah, there's definitely going to be some more content coming. Maybe one additional video a week. I might do like a Monday video and a Friday video just to bookend the week for us. Because, you know, there's a lot of folks out there that just watch videos at work. So,
yep. Speaking of, if you're watching this live, if you're watching this later down the road, man, we appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Let us hear from you, man. We love talking comics. We want this to feel as much like a Wednesday afternoon at the comic shop as we can make it. We love talking comics, so jump on in and let's talk comics. We dig it.
oh, and we are up to 520,
right?
520. So thank y'all very much for that.
Indeed.
One of my big jokes is share the videos to 2 friends because the first one might not listen to you.
It's true. So what are we going to do when we hit, say, 600? We had a Sticky Fingers pizza at 500, which I'm more than happy to replicate. But what are we going to do when we get to 600?
Man, you know what I would love to do for we could do it for 600. I would just have to buy it when I get off work and just kind of, and it would be hard to sit on it. And I might actually die on the stream if I try to eat the whole thing. A piggy burger from the Peppered Pig. Have you had a piggy burger from the Peppered Pig?
I have not.
It's a religious experience.
I'm already in the choir on this, brother.
So
I've just apparently been going to the wrong church.
They did have a food truck on South Parkway, and I believe they opened a brick and mortar place down around where Anaheim Chili used to be.
Yeah.
Down in I'll have to look on the brick and mortar place for sure. But it's a square burger. It's got the patty, a thick patty. On top of that is Korean barbecue. And then coleslaw on top of that. And it's more of a brioche bun style. And it's one of those that once you finish the whole thing, you're so stuffed, you feel like your stomach is starting to separate from the rest of your body. Like it's physically tearing itself away. It is so good. It is. I have literally had those for lunch before, and then I wasn't even hungry for dinner. So good.
I'm intrigued and interested and feel the need to try that. So I'm going to give that a whirl. And I think that's a great note to end on because now I'm hungry and I want to go get something to eat. So you got anything you want to say to folks before we check out?
I think we pretty much already said it. I mean, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting us. I mean, I'm just an old nerd having fun talking about the stuff that he loves talking about. So thank you for going on this trip with me.
Same. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We appreciate it, and we will catch you guys later.